This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. On July 19, 2018, the National Library of Israel published a very interesting article in which the following was stated. In commemoration of the 9th of Av, the day of mourning and fasting marking the destruction of the temple, the National Library of Israel presents an ancient map printed by Hartmann Schädel's Large World Chronicle. The chronicle, published in 1493 in the German city of Nuremberg, was an ambitious undertaking. It contained an overview of world history from the creation of the world until that time. The map illustrated the destruction of Jerusalem and depicts the temple going up in flames. However, this is not an illustration of Jerusalem during the Second Temple period and a description of the Jews who lived there. It is rather the printing of an engraved depicting Jerusalem's Christian sites alongside the temple, typical of the 14th and 15th century. Now that is very important to remember. This map showed a picture of an engraving depicting Jerusalem's Christian sites along the temple. And then they say this was typical for the 14th and 15th century viewpoint. The article goes on to say that it is fascinating that the text accompanying the map describes the history of the destruction of Jerusalem. First, the destruction of the first temple by Nebuchadnezzar, the destruction of the second temple by Titus, and finally, Jerusalem being turned into the Roman colony built upon the ruins of the holy city. Now, since the illustration does not depict the destruction of the first or the second temple, it is clear that there is an anticipation of a third temple, and also that that third temple would then be occupied by quote-unquote Christianity and the Romans, the modern Romans. Now, in light of this, I have an article here by the Allgemeiner, which is a very popular Jewish paper in the United States, dated July 24, saying the following. Some 2,000 people took part in the Women in Green's organization's 24th annual walk around the Old City in honor of the Tisha B'Av holiday on Sunday, that was last Sunday. Tisha B'Av is an annual holiday mourning the destruction of two holy temples inside the Old City, and is marked with fasting, reading from the Book of Lamentations, and restrictions on activities that might evoke joy or pleasure. Jews gathered for a march circumnavigating the walls of the Old City of Jerusalem, which included speeches from the Minister of Jerusalem Affairs and Heritage, the Deputy Minister of Defense, the Deputy Mayor of the City of Jerusalem, the Chairman of the Republican Party in Israel, and others. Now, the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs reacted very harshly, condemning the march, calling it provocative. And here's their statement. The ministry confirmed that this march is an extension of the state of extremism that dominates the political arena in Israel and the settlers since Trump's ominous declaration on Jerusalem, the transfer of the embassy, and the continuous Judaization of the Holy City and its separation from its Palestinian surroundings. And then it went on to say that the Palestinian ministry called upon foreign countries to intervene against Women in Green. Now, of course, a march still took place, and if you look at the internet, you see tremendously impressive pictures and videos of thousands of Jews celebrating that feast day around the holy Old City. I mean, the temple. Now, foreign countries didn't intervene here to stop that march. But it is interesting that foreign countries are being called upon by Palestinians to do so in light of the fact that the Bible tells you that ultimately foreign countries, especially European countries, the modern Romans, if you please, will intervene, will occupy the Promised Land, will occupy Jerusalem. And also, not only that the Jews will start giving animal sacrifices and building the third temple, which will create an unbelievable uproar. And so those European countries will march in to quote-unquote establish peace. Now, how do these two articles I just read to you relate? Well, in this way. Breaking Israel News wrote on July 19, Tisha B'Av, the people are ready for the temple. And then it says, in our generation, an entire nation is turning on to the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. It is time to transform the mourning of the tragedy of the past into preparation and anticipation of the glory of the future, the rebuilding of the Holy Temple in our days. So here, Tisha B'Av is being connected with the building of the third temple, which again is a belief which, as we have seen, has been extremely popular also in the Christian world for many, many centuries. Now we have prepared a free booklet, When and How Will Christ Return? When and How Will Christ Return? It's absolutely free for the asking. I like to read from a brief excerpt on page 15 of the booklet under the headline, Europe's Invasion of the Middle East. And I'm going to omit any scriptural references, although they are quoted here in this booklet. I just want to read to you the synopsis. The volatile situation in the Middle East will deteriorate even more, and the Jews will build a third temple in Jerusalem and begin to offer daily sacrifices. This will anger the Arab world, and the nations under the power of the beast and the false prophet will intervene militarily with the declared goal to create peace in the region. They will invade the Promised Land, end the sacrifices, and enslave the Jewish people. Christ warned about these events, stating that the abomination of desolation will stand at the holy place, the third temple. The false prophet will take his domicile in the temple, perhaps in the Holy of Holies, claiming to be God himself. When this happens, Christ's return is imminent. And there are many more indications for Christ's imminent return as we describe them here in this free booklet. So please ask for a free copy and realize that events are taking place right now, bringing into motion the return of Jesus Christ to come to this earth, to establish the kingdom and the government of God on this planet, so that we can have peace and tranquility and happiness and joy, which we haven't had for a long, long time. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.